Former President Trump sitting for a virtual interview with New York probation officials today.
It is a required step before sentencing in July. Fox 5's Sharon Crowley joins us now with a closer look at what likely was discussed there.
Yeah, Bianca and Steve, lawyers tell me this is a very important interview. The judge will be using the information obtained during it to decide what punishment will be handed down during Trump's sentencing in July. Now, the former president will be asked the very same questions that any convicted felon will be asked. It does usually happen in person, but in this case, Trump is allowed to do the interview with his lawyer from Palm Beach.
Probation officers interviewing former President Donald Trump virtually while he remains at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The former president doesn't have to appear in person in Lower Manhattan like most convicted felons. The procedure must happen before Trump's sentencing in July. Last month, a jury found Trump guilty of falsifying business records in his criminal hush money case.
In between verdict and sentencing, the Office of Probation will typically reach out to a defendant, meet with them, conduct an interview.
Criminal defense lawyer Ken Belkin says convicts are asked a series of standard questions about their criminal backgrounds, drug use, and about family and friends.
Typically, they would ask if he associates with any known felons. I think he's going to have an issue. There is the issue of Peter Navarro that worked in his administration, who's convicted and serving time. There's also the issue of Steve Bannon, who's convicted and supposedly supposed to surrender himself the beginning of July to serve a 4-month sentence.
Belkin says the judge will be using the information obtained during this interview to determine Trump's sentence, whether or not he should get jail time, house arrest, or probation. Belkin says Trump's problem is that judges like a convicted felon to show remorse.
I could tell you one thing that enrages judges more than anything that I've seen at sentencing, other than the person getting rearrested between, their conviction and their sentence, would be their lack of acceptance of responsibility and a lack of remorse. They do not like when defendants are out there after having been convicted or pled guilty, if they're out there proclaiming their innocence.
Well, Trump's attorneys are expected to appeal and request any punishment given its sentencing be put off until after that appeal is ruled on. Some groups already, the Legal Aid Society, the Bronx Defenders, and the New York County Defender Services, say the former president is being allowed to get special treatment for his pre-sentencing interview, not typically afforded to low-income defendants, Steve.
All right, thanks, Sharon.